Hi, I'm Jean Nolte, editor at Fons & Porter.
And I'm Colleen Tauke. I'm the sewing specialist with Fons & Porter. In this Sew Easy, we will show you how to do set-in seams on a hexagon.
Okay, so this is the units we're joining together, and these are the pieces that we use to make them. We have squares joined into pairs, large triangles, small triangles.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to do on our triangles is mark where the seam lines intersect.
For the corners.
For all the corners. And the same thing on the squares. And that is going to help us down the road with some accurate piecing.
Because we're going to be coming into those intersections, so we kind of want to know where to go.
Right. All right. So the first thing you want to do is
we're going to join together 3 of those large triangles to make the center, creating that half hexagon shape.
this part.
So it looks just like the one above.
Now when you joined those, you sewed, oops, this is the last one. We have to look at this one. When you join those, you sew from edge to edge. Later we're not going to be doing that. But joining these 3, you do sew all the way to the edge. Okay, so once you've got that, we're going to set that aside because we need to make this piece.
We're going to create its surround.
All right, so we have this and a green triangle, and then I'll need a couple more sets of
2 patches and a triangle.
Let's move that out of the way. Another triangle there.
And one that will go up the side over here. Kind of in a U shape, kind of a loose U shape.
So basically it's going to look like there. All right, so the first thing we want to do is just join this into a strip, a curved strip. All right, so I'm going to put these right sides together, and I'm going to give you those to join.
Okay, and now this is where you're going to want to match up these intersections. So I'm going to take a pin, drop it through the intersection on the triangle, and then try and shoot through the intersection on the 2-patch. There we go.
This is a place where you're not going to sew to the edge.
Correct. We're just going to be going from point to point. Hopefully this one matches. Bingo.
And that's really the whole trick to set in seams, is not sewing to the edges.
You got to leave yourself a spot for a pivot. And we're going to drop the needle right into the spot that we pinned. So we're right at the intersection. We're going to sew a 1/4-inch seam.
So you either need to back tack there or do the tack feature if your sewing machine has that. And the same thing when you get to the end, right? You'll either back up or
just
do
a little
that
tie
tack.
off of the machine, cut thread and take it out. And you would proceed around to create those outer, outer ring.
Then add this piece, this piece, this piece until you have them all into one.
Okay.
Little curvy strip. So I'm going to get those out of the way because we have another one.
Okay. This seems like a lot, so just hang with me here. We've got the center. This is the half hexagon shape. I'll show you what these are all joined together now in that ring. We've got one attached, so I wanted to show you what it looked like before we got into the next one. So you'll see that we've sewn from a 1/4-inch in here, sewn across this piece, and you'll see how that seam that when we join the triangle to the 2-patch, we're going to be right 1/4-inch from each side.
They just meet up with one another. So now you're ready to move to the next seam over. You do the adjacent one.
Right. Now we have to deal with this. So the triangle folds back out of the way.
This is why you didn't sew all the way to the edge, because you got that
wiggle. And now you're going to press the seam allowance with your fingers back. You can see where I've sewn to within a 1/4-inch of the cut edge again here. So that's where we're going to start.
Yeah, that's your starting spot.
Put a little pin in it to hold everything in place. We're going to sew along here, and we're going to kind of pull this back out of the way. See, there's within 1/4-inch of the edge again.
So that's your
and that spot should be right into the intersection of the hexagon underneath, that white one. And we're going to sew from this side, from that intersection here, across the 1/4-inch seam to the pin on the other side. Okay, now we're going to take it to the machine, keeping things folded back out of the way.
So if you
We want
If
to
you've
bring
got
the
those
needle-
folded out of the way, they won't get caught in that seam.
Exactly. We're going to bring the needle down right in that sweet spot. We're going to tie it off, just a couple little stitches, and then we're going to proceed across this space.
And so I see you didn't pin in the middle because they're pretty short seams.
It's not very far across, so you can probably hold it that distance. You can always put a pin in if you feel more comfortable doing that. We're going to sew right to the other side, right to that intersection. One more stitch. We're going to tie it off again.
Or if your sewing machine doesn't have that feature,
Or
you
back-
would just back up a
back
couple of
stitch, yep.
stitches.
Just so that it's secured. And then you will see
pull
we've
that out.
stitched across there. Guess what? We would repeat that same
see.
thing.
Yeah, it's
Over
starting
here.
to look like a,
Yep,
something
same
here.
thing here. Corner to corner, out, and you will have a half
go.
hexagon.
and that is going to get pressed out
Seam allowances towards the outer edge, yes.
away from that. Now, when you go to assemble your quilt, you have a few other pieces, and if you look, you'll start with a hexagon like this. It needs to have another one of those green triangles up here, and then we're actually, before you have another one of these, you've got another, I need just that plain hexagons.
Half hexagon?
Yeah.
Those are the
You'd
easy
put-
pieces to put
you'd
together.
put that here, a green one, a pair of squares, a green triangle, and then you're ready for another one of those.
Long rows up and down through the quilt. Thanks for joining us today.
For more Sew Easy lessons, go to fonsandporter.com.